Hi everyone. Today we are going to start IELTS reading passage 2. That is zoo conservative programs. So these are the following statements agreed with the views of the writer in reading passage 3, 16 to 22. So you have to be answers like if there's an answer is yes, you do not write only why, you have to write a proper if the statement is correct. So write yes if the statement contradicts the writer, so you have to write no. And if it is impossible to say what the writer thinks about it, so you have to write not given. Now let's start with this. In the first statement, if we are going to start, London Zoo's advertisements are dishonest. Here is the keyword is advertisements and dishonest. So keep in mind, you have to find out these two words advertisement and dishonest. So you make, if you mind, like it can be used synonyms of this and similar meaning of these words. So when we are, now I'm flipping this page, and here is the hint is that, so potentially did it distort the reality. One of the London Zoo's recent advertisements caused me some irritation, so potentially did it distort the reality. Now when you will read this whole sentence again, what you will find out here the writer expresses his opinion that plenty of advertisements did distort this reality. So the writer here, he really states that the plenty of London Zoo's advertisements did distort reality, and that is a dishonest. Distort reality. That is similar to the dishonest. Then he goes no to criticize a recent advertisement that caused her some irritation. So here is our answer is yes, and I'm going to write there. This is yes, because Zoo's advertisements are dishonest, and that is distort the reality. It is similar to that. Now we will come to our next question, that is 17. Zoos made an insignificant contribution to conservation up until 30 years ago. Now you have to find out this keyword, that is insignificant contribution to conservation up until 30 years. So here is the main keyword is 30 years. And insignificant contribution, what? These words are saying insignificant, like that is showing some negativity here. That is negativity. So to conservation, saying insignificant contribution to conservation up until this. So I will find this insignificant contribution. Now I am flipping this page here. And here is the second paragraph, and I am finding this until about 30 years ago. Here the second paragraph of the first line, zoos were originally created as places of entertainment, and the suggested involvement with conservation didn't seriously arise until about 30 years ago, when the Zoological Society of London held the first formal international meeting on this subject. Our answer could be here in this. Here is the main keyword is contribution. 30 years ago, we have already found it, and they're saying insignificant contribution. Insignificant, the synonyms of the insignificant, similar meaning of insignificant, that is didn't seriously arise. This, what is showing this didn't seriously arise until about, and here is an until about 30 years ago. So here the statement is correct. So we will write yes here. Here I'm going to write yes. Now we will come to the next question, that is the WZCS document is not known in Eastern Europe. They are talking about a documentary. Here are our two main keywords. WZCS document is not only Eastern Europe, so I will find out these keywords here. WZCS, when we come to second paragraph, and second paragraph, it's the last line, the World Zoo Conservation Strategy, September 1993, which, although an important and welcome document, does seem to be based on unrealistic optimism about the nature of the zoo industry. They're talking about that this WZCS in 1993, it is an important and that is a welcome document that is just based on unrealistic optimism. So here they're not talking about this document. In this document is not, they're not talking about any Eastern Europe. Now when he will find out this Eastern Europe, here's this third paragraph, sentence, and it is, I have found that in a year of working in Eastern Europe, I discover Fry Zoo. zoos on almost a weekly basis. So, at the end of this paragraph, it is evident that the writer does not express anything whether the WZCS document was known to Eastern Europe or not. No, he didn't mention it. So here they are just saying that it's a welcome document and just seem based on unrealistic optimism. They are not talking about any Eastern Europe. So our answer would be not given. So we will write here our answer that is not given. Now move to 19 question. That is zoo is the WZCS select list were carefully inspected. Here our main keywords are WZCS and select list. Carefully inspected. Inspected, that is a verb that is using here. So we have to find out that they're talking about WZCS. They're talking about select list, a proper paperwork. Maybe they are talking about and carefully inspected. Inspection to finding out, experiencing. So we will find out these words that would be used here. So I'm flipping this. And they're talking about here in this paragraph, like his first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, in this fourth paragraph, they're talking about the second flaw is the reasoning of WZCS document is a naive faith it places in 1,000 core zoos. One would assume that the caliber of this institution would have been carefully examined, but it appears that criterion for inclusion on the select list might merely be that zoo is a member of zoo federation or association. Here is the answer would be here, and they already have used here carefully examined. They're talking about WZCS document and places its 1,000 of core zoos and assume that actually they assume that it would have been carefully examined, but it not. So this sentence saying that it is safe to say that Rada does not believe that zoos in the WZCS select list were carefully inspected. So this list could not be carefully exempted, but they assume that in future they could be examined. But in reality, after that, it could not be examined. So here, what's the answer? Yes, our answer would be no. They were select lists were carefully inspected? No. The select list were not carefully inspected. Now, move forward to another question, that is the 20, that no one knew the animals were being treated at Robin Hill Adventure Park. So by this sentence, it's very easy to understand that no one knew at that time that animals treated as Robin Hill Adventure. So our statement is yes, no, or not given. So now I am flipping here, and I'm finding here is that paragraph. In this paragraph, on second page, on 7th line, here is this. These include Robin Hill Adventure Park on the Isle of Wight, which may consider the most notorious collection of animals in the country. This establishment, which for years was protected by the Isle Local Council, which viewed it as a tourist amenity, was finally closed down following damning report by a veterinary inspector. What this sentence is saying to us that Robin Hill Adventure Park, that is considered to be a notorious collection, notorious, that is the very bad collection of the animals. And here sentence is saying that after that was finally closed down. Means that after these all situations, that's why it's closed down after that report by a veterinary inspector. Then he inspected about all these things. So here they are just saying that no one knew how the animals were being treated. It means the statement is not correct. Here we have to write no. Because they knew that the animals were treated. So our answer would be no. Here I'm going to write it. No. Now move forward is 21 question, that is Colin Tudge was dissatisfied with the treatment of animals at London Zoo. It's very easy to understand that it's Colin Tudge. So we have to find this word. Colin Tudge is the name of the person that is saying that was dissatisfied. He was not satisfied with the animals treatment at London Zoo. So we will find it. Is he satisfied or not in this sentence? Here is the Colin Tudge. there is an author of Last Animal at Zoo, Oxford University Press, argues that if the world zoos work together in a cooperative breeding programs, then even without further expansion, they could save around 2,000 species of endangered land vertebrates. This is extremely optimism proposition from a man who must be aware of the failings and weakness of the zoo industry. The man who, when a member of the Council of London Zoo, had to persuade a zoo to devote more of the activities to conservation. Moreover, we are the facts to support such optimism. Thus, with this reading passage that informs us that Colin Tudge was a former member of the Council of London Zoo and the last animals and writer of the last animals at the zoo, it does not tell if he was satisfied or dissatisfied with the treatment of animals at London Zoo. So that is why our answer would be not given, because here it isn't mentioned that treatment, they were satisfied or dissatisfied with the treatment of animals. So here answer would be not given. So I'm going to write here that is not given. Okay. Now move forward here. The number of successful conservation program is unsatisfactory. Okay, after reading these passages here, now I am come to this conclusion that in every reports, in every efforts, they were not satisfied. You can find an answer here. Beyond that, about 20 species are being seriously considered for the zoo conservation programs, given that a national conference at London Zoo was held 30 years ago. This is a pretty slow progress and a long way off of ducks target 2,000. So there are no facts of supporting the zoo conservations here. Here's the answer is yes. So now we are moving forward to question number 23 to 25, and these are the MCQs. Here choose the appropriate letters A to D and write them in boxes 23 to 25 on your answer sheet. So let's start. Here is in question number 23. What were the objectives of WZCS document? Okay, the first method is to do the MCQs here. Do not come up with these options. First of all, when you're finding the question that what are the objectives of WZCS document, to find out this on your paragraphs. So let's move here. They're talking about that is the document. What means the main objectives of this document? So they are asking about the main objectives, that is main objective of this WZCS document. Here is our answer in the second paragraph, and we will read here this. This commitment has now been clearly defined in the World Zoo Conservation Strategy, WZ, September 1993, which, although an important and welcome document, so they are talking about document seem to be based on the unrealistic optimism about nature of the zoo industry. So what was the document that was unrealistic optimism? Okay, so they are talking about this. So what were the objectives of? So after reading this, now we will come to this to improve the caliber of zoo worldwide. No, they are not talking about in this paragraph regarding to identify a zoo suitable for conservation practice. To identify zoo suitable for conservation practice. Okay, when you are again reading this, to point out on word conservation, because the zoo community was where this commitment is now being clearly defined, the zoo conservation strategy. So here is an answer is the conservation strategy, and they are talking about is conservation. So in this paragraph, we have read all these that conservation. So our answer would be B. So here is our answer B. Now I am moving forward to question number 24. That is, why does the writer refer to Robin Hill Adventure Park? So this is an answer. This question is very simple because I already mentioned it's Robin Hill Adventure Park, and we have discussed in the last paragraphs regarding this. So here, why does the writer refer? So why does the writer refer about this Robin Hill Adventure Park? So I'm not reading this options right now. And move forward is to main keyword Robin Hill Adventure Park. So here it is I am finding. Yes. In this paragraph, these include Robin Hill Adventure Park on the Isle of Wight, which may be considered the most notorious collection of animals in the country. This establishment, which is for years were protected by the IELTS local council, which viewed it as a tourist amenity, was finally closed down, following a damning report by a veterinary inspector appointed under the terms of Zoo Licensing Act 1981. So in this, the whole background, what they are saying, the Robin Hood Venture Park, and they are not satisfied with all this because they have a lack of financial resources. So that's why it was closed down. Why it was closed down? For a damning report by veterinary inspector. So after reading all this, we have got an idea regarding there are some financial resources. And also their situation is even worse in the developing countries. They have a little money is available for redevelopment. They have very little money to develop it and to see a way of incorporating collections into overall scheme of WZCS. So means that it means that this whole paragraph is considering the main thing they are focusing on, that they have a weakness in all this. So now I'm moving forward. So our answer now, we will read these options that they are asking for why does the writer refer to Robin Hill Adventure Park to support the also white local council? No, they are not talking about it. To criticize the 1981 Zoo Licensing Act? No, they're also not criticizing because it was a mistake of that to illustrate a weakness in this WZ's document. Okay, that seemed to be similar that they're illustrating the weakness. That is, what are the weakness at that weakness in the WZ's document here? Okay, now we will move forward to question number 25. That what word best describe the writer's response to Colin Tudge production on captive breeding programs? Here they are asking about what word that best describe. They are asking about some conclusion regarding the Colin Tudge. If there is a question like they're asking about the conclusion that was the best describe this writer's response, it says they are asking about the conclusion, the main idea. So now we need to read all these: disbelieving, impartial, prejudice, and accepting. So here it is. We will move towards that. Describe the response. Colin Tudge production. Colin Tudge productions. Where it is? Yes, here it is. In the second last paragraph, the Colin Tudge author as an animal had to Zoo, Oxford University Press, 1992. Argues that if the world zoos work together in cooperative breeding programs, then even without further expansion, they could save around 2,000 species of endangered land vertebrates. This is extremely optimistic, a proposition from a man who must be aware of the failing and weakness of the zoo industry. The man who, when a member of the Council of London Zoo, had persuaded the zoo to devote more insectivity to conservation. Moreover, where are the facts to support such optimism? Here they asking, in this whole paragraph, this is the main idea. That and after that, this is saying, moreover, where are the facts to support? Like, what are the facts to support the zoo? What are the facts to such optimism? It is their main idea. So no one is supporting the zoo. Now, our answer: disbelieving, impartial, prejudice, and accepting. Accepting is in cross. It was not accepting. The document was not accepting. No one is believing the fact. So disbelieving is the answer. That is an correct answer. That is A. Please don't forget to subscribe the channel and watch the more videos. Now we've come to question number 26 to 28. Here are they asking about, the writer mentions a number of factors which lead him to doubt the value of the WZCS document, which 3 of the following factors are mentioned. Write your answer ARF in the boxes 26 to 28 on your answer sheet. So here is this list of the factors, and they are talking about that mention the factors that lead to doubt or value. What are the doubt on the WZCS document they're talking about? So we have to list down those that are talking about some flaws. So here's the list of the factors. Now we have to read the whole paragraph. So, and now we have some idea regarding that. What are the factors are right or wrong? Here when we come to the number of unregistered zoos in the world, the lack of money in the developing countries. Okay, the number of unregistered zoos in the world. Yes, they have talked about it. Their number of unregistered zoos. There are many unregistered zoos they are talking about in the second or third paragraphs. The lack of money in the developing countries. They have only mentioned the lack of money into the Soldi Zoo. They are not talking about a lack of money regarding for developing countries, so this is not a true, not given. They just talk about zoo's worst condition only. Now move forward. The actions of the ILEO White Local Council. No. The failure of the WZ is to examine the standards of the core zoos. Our answer in between A, D, and E. This is our answer. And unrealistic aim of WZs in a view of number of species. Yes, we have discussed it. The failure of the WZs to examine the standards of the core zoos. Yes, we have already discussed it. Just the policies of the WZ zoo managers. No, they didn't make any policies regarding the zoo's managers because they have a lot of the flaws they have mentioned only in all the paragraphs. So why this answer is correct here? The number of unregistered zoos in their ward. Move forward. Now I am going here. Our answer would be here. The WZ's estimates said there are about 10,000 zoos in the ward, of which around 1,000 represent a core of quality collections, capable of the participating in coordinated conservation programs. This is probably the document first failing. They're talking about is a first failing document, as I believe 10,000 is a serious underestimate of the total number of the places masquerading as zoological estimate. Of course, it is difficult to get accurate data, but not to put the issue into perspective. Have found that in a year of working in Eastern Europe, I discovered the fresh zoos on an almost weekly basis. There is, I believe, there's an underestimate number of places. They don't have any accurate data. So, they don't have an accurate data. The number of unregistered zoos, due to unregistered zoos, that's why they don't have an accurate data. They could not inspect the zoos, and there are unregistered zoos here. Because zoos are not listed down. So that's why there are a number of unregistered zoos in the world that they have. Saying. Now D is the answer. The failure of WZ is to examine the standards of the core zoos. Just after this paragraph, the second flaw, they're talking about reasoning of WZ's document is deny faith its places in its 1,000 core zoos. One would assume that the caliber of these institutions would have been carefully examined. Yes, but they don't. But it appears the criterion of inclusion of this select list and merely be that zoo is a member of Zoo Federation Association. So that is the answer, because it was a failure in it to examine the standards of the zoos. They assume, they could not assume it. Carefully exempt. Now we will come to this A, the unrealistic aim of WZs is the view of number of species saved to date. Now in the last paragraph, today approximately 16 species might be said to have been saved by captive breeding programs, although a number of this can hardly be looked upon resounding success. Beyond that about it, further 20 species are being seriously considered for the zoo conservation program, given that the International Conference at London Zoo was held 30 years ago. This is a pretty slow progress and long way off the target 2000. So here they are saying the unrealistic aim of this WZ's document view of number of species saved to date. That's why this answer is because it was unrealistic without any aim and it was in a slow progress at that time. So these are the main flaws and main list of the factors that create a doubt in the value of WZ's document. I hope you have cleared all the points. If you find any difficulties, so kindly comment us. And you have to ask anything that related to this, and you can give them a suggestion regarding more videos. Thank you, and subscribe my channel. Goodbye.